Coach Cuonzo Martin rejoins the Marching to Madness College Basketball Podcast, and he returns to Missouri State, where he posted a 61-41 record from 2008 to 2011. Coach Martin has won 57.1% of his team's games in his 14 seasons as a head coach at Missouri State, and of course taking Tennessee and Cal and Missouri into NCAA tournament play. Coach, it's a pleasure to see you, man.
Thank you for having me, Ken. How you doing?
I'm doing good, just dribbling it out here in kind of what's called the off season.
I like it, man. I mean, you got to enjoy some downtime. That's what life's all about.
That's what life's all about. I agree wholeheartedly. Discuss the return to Springfield, Missouri now as the Bears, they presented you with your first head coaching job since that 2008 season.
Man, it's been great. And just my wife and I, we were living my wife and I and my daughter, we were living in Florida. It's peaceful. I mean, great walking the dog, just having a great time. Watching basketball, studying basketball, doing some consulting, a lot of behind the scenes work at my leisure, though. I mean, it wasn't that I was working a job. And then obviously when this presented itself, I felt like it was a great opportunity to get back into a place, especially in the new world of college basketball. We have the transfer portal, name, image, and likeness, and to get back in it with a peace of mind and space and understanding what I need to do in order to be successful and help build the program. So I felt like it was a tremendous opportunity, especially with people I was familiar with working with before.
Coach, as a college basketball mind, how do you watch the games when you're not a head coach or a member of a staff? What are some nuances and things you looked for as you were going to wind up back with the Bears?
It's a good question. The reason why I say that, from my time as a player, when I first started understanding film, in college, studying film, preparing for another team, but also watching yourself and growing as a player. So I'm going to say from 91 until, 2022, it was constant film watching. Now, again, you have your off season, but even off season, you're watching film, studying other programs, but really a lot of film watching of myself, opponents, game planning for teams, game planning for individual players. So that's a lot of film watching. So then that first year out, my wife was like, man, and I would say it's maybe December, maybe early January. She said, I thought you would watch more basketball than you watch. Meaning, for so long and doing in film study, I just said, I've been so exhausted with film for so long, I had to put that down. And just because, again, it takes a lot. That's all you do all the time is film all the time. So it was having a peace of mind, not watching a lot of film, but really not even watching a lot of games unless it was relationships on the staff or people. They say, man, can you watch this game and see what you think? Give me your 2 cents, that sort of thing, especially the first year out. And the second year, I started watching a lot more film and really studying. Yes.
When you're working that transfer portal and trying to put your team together, how has the vision of recruiting changed in able to do that?
Well, I think for me, it's always been the same because I've been blessed to coach for a long time. I've been blessed to see young men get drafted. I've been blessed to see young men grow as, average players to great players, see young men be successful in life and have great careers. And for me, that's been the ultimate goal. Of course, as a coach, you're trying to compete and win games. We understand that part. But for me, it's the love, the respect, and the appreciation of the game and to see a young man grow from I'm going to say, use the word boy in a respectful manner, from a boy into a man, to have a great life and career. That's why I take most pride and joy in. So in doing that, when you say recruiting, it's trying to get a young man to really embrace his uniqueness and understand he has his own gifts. And with most young guys, they use the term "stay in your lane." So him understanding to stay in my lane and be the best version of myself. I think that's the first thing to help them understand that. And even in what we're looking for. Then the other thing, to help them understand, never lose that hunger for success, to never lose that, even in your perceived struggles, because they think their struggles when they're growing, as when they come to college as freshmen, sophomore, they think that they're struggling. But no, you're just really transitioning and growing into something. You got to work at it. And so really to never lose the hunger, but in the process of that, it takes time. It takes commitment, it takes accountability, it takes discipline and dedication, but more importantly, it takes sacrifice. And then the other thing is, for so long, we always talk about working hard as coaches. We always say, you got to work hard, you got to work hard. So what I try to do, I try to really hone in on that. So I say, guys, you got to work hard, but work with a focus in work, a hard focus work. So understanding what you're trying to do, because again, if I'm a big guy and I play around the rim, I can't all of a sudden spend a lot of time shooting threes on the corner if that's not my game. So really just focus on what you're trying to do. But the recruiting part is still the same. You're trying to find quality student athletes. And I'm not a stickler on what a young man's character is at 18 as opposed to when he's 25. Because
Sure.
everybody come from different backgrounds. So it's my job as a coach to find out how we can help him become the best version of himself.
Going into your roster, I kind of studied the players on there, last night. You picked up a really solid point guard. He's 6'6", Mose Downing Rivers, who
Yes.
played on Barton Community College national championship squad.
Talented player, and getting a high level young man. Great family background. A guy have this. We think he has a chance to be a special player because he's a guy that has the ability to score the ball, but such a willing passer. I mean, you see his frame. I mean, you're talking about a guy at point guard, 6'5", 6'6", 200+ pounds, but he can move with it and knows how to use his weight. We're happy to have him on board. But again, a phenomenal young man and has a willingness to learn and a love and a yearning for wisdom. And I think when you have young guys that yearn for that wisdom, that knowledge, and that understanding, they really seek it from you as a coach and your staff. It's a beautiful thing.
Wesley Oba from Delaware State, 6'8", 215. He shot 59% from the floor. Then you also added in the post Alan Yademadu. He will create a post presence as well.
Hey, both we really like both of them. And the great thing about them, they had a prior relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about two guys that have good relationships. They have an understanding with each other, a great passion for life. Now, one comes from Manchester, England, and one comes from Lagos, Nigeria.
Wow.
Two phenomenal young men, hardworking, very appreciative of the opportunity. And we think those guys will really help our program. And Wesley Oba, yes, he shot almost 60% from the field, but he's been shooting the three ball very well for us. And then Allen's a guy that can shoot threes. I mean, you're talking about a guy with a frame.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those guys can be them WWF wrestlers. When you look at his frame at 6'10", 260, all muscle, and he moves and he's mobile, like can shoot the ball at the perimeter. Really, really improving his low post game. Not that he lacks it, but he's one of those big guys that spend a lot of time on the perimeter, which will bode well for his skill set. But we want to get him around that rim as well because he's a physical presence.
Your teams are obviously known for a really strong defensive prowess. So what are some of your philosophies in building a defense with generally what will be a new group of players?
I think the biggest thing is what I try to get guys to do to have ambition and to be ambitious about your individual goals. I mean, because again, and we never try to make it about you're an individual player. We understand that part, but have your ambitions of greatness individually. Mm-hmm. Now we have to align that up with other 14, 15, 16 guys in order for us to understand the task at hand. Here's the mission. Here's the standard we have to set with your individual goals. Because I think what happens, we can't run away from the fact as a society, a coaching staff, and programs to understand these guys want individual goals and accolades to be successful. Nothing wrong with that, but how do we tie that into what we're trying to do as a team and as a program? So again, working hard together. Again, a focused work, the discipline to be great at doing the mundane, because oftentimes it gets so boring to you. And I tell the guys, when it gets boring, that means we're making progress. But we have to enjoy the mundane every day. But you also have to enjoy what you're doing. And I know that's easier said than done. You have to enjoy the tough days and really realize the journey. The beauty is in the journey. There's blips on the radar, or the peaks and valleys. But I think you have to learn from those valleys and embrace that constructive criticism or those tough times. Embrace that and learn from it and keep moving forward, because that's really life. And that'll be your life until they put you in a casket.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Vincent Bray II, Sam Murray II, and Zaxton King were three other players I found in your incoming portal. So tell me a little bit about the key basketball talents that these guys will add to your squad.
Well, when you say Jackson, who's a true freshman from out of Lawrence, Kansas, a talented guy, 6'4",
Mhm.
handle the ball. Because she's one of those young guys that can do a lot of things. He can handle the ball, he can shoot the ball, he can make decisions with the ball. High level character guy. Again, another great family. He values the game. He appreciates the teaching. He's a student of the game, so to speak. He has a willingness to listen, hear, and understand it, and absorb it, and take it and run with it. But I think he's a guy to play from day one because he has all the parts. And then when you send Vincent Brady, is a talented guy, transferred from IUPUI. He's actually from Indianapolis. A talented guy, 6'4", a good athlete around the rim, can make the shot, can drive the ball, can move without the ball, and just really maximizing everything he has in him because he's a big guard. So we want him to be able to be physical in and around the rim, attacking the rim, shooting the open threes, driving the ball, sprinting off screens, but just a lot of stuff like we do with all the guards. But I think his maturity and his experience bodes well for him to really enhance his role. And I think I'm not sure who the other guy you asked me about.
Sam Murray.
Oh, Sam, yes. So Sam's a transfer from Murray State.
Mhm.
Didn't have, great years in his first 2 years at Murray State, but he's a guy that I saw coming out of high school, and I felt like with his size, his length, his athleticism, his ability to sprint the floor, to do a lot of things. I think he'll fit well in what we're trying to do, and I think his better days are in front of him. He learned some obviously valuable lessons at Murray, and we want to continue to enhance that and grow his profile.
When you look at how you coach in the summer and how your assistant coaches work with the players, what might be three key things you work on individually with those players?
Well, I think core things when you say offensively,
Mhm.
we really try to spend a lot of time on footwork, and that's always been me since I left. When I was at Coach Katie, with Coach Katie as a college player, the
Yeah.
footwork, the jump stops. I mean, I can jump stop in my sleep with one eye, 1 foot, one leg, whatever. Jump stops, understanding shot fakes, the discipline of the game to be able to bounce pass, chest pass the left hand, pass the right hand. So the fundamentals of the game when you talk about the footwork and the passing. Then the other thing, just simple shot making, having the confidence to make shots and not put so much pressure on yourself to make the shots. And we spend a lot of time on shot making, 5 spots around the perimeter with a shot fake, rip and drive to the rim, your footwork in and around the rim when you get to the rim, whether I finish off 1 foot, 2 feet. We spend a lot of time on that. And I think the third thing when you're talking offense is reading the defense. And that's, I think that's one area where we have to grow in the United States. I think we have to grow. I'm not comparing to any other country, but I think that's somewhat lost for us in the United States, just to playing without the basketball, reading the defense. And I don't want to mistake the fact I think high school coaches, grassroots coaches, trainers, all of them play a great part in this. But I think we all have to come together, figure out how we can be better at teaching our youth how to play without the basketball, how to move without the basketball, how to set a screen, how to set a ball screen, not just a ball screen, but a back screen, a down screen. Some call it pin down, cross screens, teaching them the game. And I think we have to get better in those areas. But we spend a lot of time on that, yes.
I really wish I would have had your acumen for shooting back when I was playing high school basketball. My problem was I could shoot it, but I couldn't play any defense. That's why I got excused at an early age. Hey, how has coaching changed over the years since you began in 2008?
It hadn't changed for me. It hadn't
Mhm.
changed for me because really, I think God blessed me with the ability to lead. Yes,
Mhm.
titles, coaching, teaching, whatever. But I think leading, it's a lifetime, it's a lifestyle, it's who you are,
Mhm.
it's your joy, it's your passion, and it's just being a teacher. And I think my preparation has always been the key to what I try to do, and it's really leading young men. When I started this thing, it was really all about basketball. Yes, I wanted to see young men get degrees, but I didn't understand the impact or what it means to have internships to really hone in on a young man not just getting a degree, but in some that he's really good at doing. Because oftentimes you ask, okay, what do you want to get a degree in? Okay, you just put somebody there. No, I think you'll be great at this. It might be tough, but I think you can get a degree, and let's pursue this. Let's not
Mhm.
run. It'll be a struggle, but let's pursue it and not put all your eggs in just that basket of basketball. Pursue it. But so now it's not just education, not just being a professional player, but also having a successful life and a career. So how can we help you with financial resources so you can be successful in that area? How can we help you with emotional intelligence? Because those are things that weren't talked about when I came out of college, when I first started coaching. How do we help you when dealing with mental issues? It's okay to say you're dealing with this. How do we help this? We're not judging. In this area here, we're a fan of basketball family, and I don't say that just to say it. We're not judging you. Our
Mhm.
job is to help you as a coach, as a staff, to really grow you from a young man into a man, and whatever that means, we're willing to do it. So we have to acknowledge who we are and be okay with that. We have to acknowledge where we come from, whether it's struggles, humble beginnings, two-parent home, one-parent home, grandmother raised. We have to deal with all that. We have to know who we are. And then we try our best to help you become the best version of you. Everybody has to be on deck when you're talking about dealing with young men and women and building a great program. That means the administration, the athletic department, the trainers, the psychologists, the mental coach, the academic advisor. Everybody has to understand we can't judge where they come from. We have to take them from where they are and get them where we have to go. And sometimes that can be tough because not every kid's the same. And not every kid's a yes, sir, no, sir, which there's nothing wrong with that. And I didn't raise my kids to say yes, sir, no, sir. But we have to appreciate them for wanting to be a part of our program. And I think oftentimes we take that for granted. We assume we give you a scholarship that you're supposed to bow down and do. We say, dude, no, I appreciate you want to be a part of our family. Let's try to make this thing great.
It's interesting. I used to have the same focus that you talk about with the basketball when I taught English for 21 years. I think teaching high school and that type thing, it's a parallel set of goals.
Yes, I agree with that. But I think the hard part is not so much, even with our players, I always say that the hard part is not so much as putting the ball in the basket. The hard part is all the stuff in between. Is the trust. Do you trust me? I know it's uncomfortable because I'm taking you to a place where you've never gone before. Just like the maturation from a young man into a man. You go from middle school, junior high school to college. You mature. You don't change. Everybody change. You talk about the growth mindset. So in the growth, you have to be able to trust that. You have to be able to trust, even though this feels uncomfortable, trust the fact that it'll be right for you. Now, the trust, we have to have a connection. We
Mhm.
have to have a connection. We don't have to agree upon everything. My kids didn't agree with everything I say, even when they were 5 or 6 years old. But just trust the fact that I'll help you get where you have to go. But then the other part is we have to be realistic in our self-evaluation. Can I self-evaluate myself enough to know, okay, this when I look in the mirror, it might be uncomfortable. Man, I struggle with that. But I'm okay with it. I'm gonna grow into that. And I think a lot of times we're afraid to look in the mirror because really it's the man in the mirror. You can solve a lot of problems if you just sit down and talk with the man in the mirror.
Mhm.
You'll be in a better place.
Going to the NBA here for a second, the Boston Celtics won their 18th world title over Dallas, a few days ago. What was your take on the series and the availability of the Celtics, to work together and mesh as a unit?
Well, we both know with any program, you can't become who you want to be unless we're all tied in together, we're aligned together to be successful. Now, we don't have to hang out off the court all day long, but we have to be on the same page when it comes to being successful as a program. And I think the Boston Celtics, in the beginning, starting back with Brad Stevens, who did a phenomenal job as a coach. They were right there, hovering around it. But in the process while they were hovering around it, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were growing into it. And of
Mhm.
course, when Brad moves as the president, they make some changes, make some adjustments there. When with Derek White, who's a talented two-way player, then you get I don't know how the NBA, how the East allowed them to get Drew Holiday. I don't understand that one. Wow, man, it
Yeah.
just almost sealed it for them. And I just think they have a great core, great unit. They have to have two elite guys when you're talking NBA. Because right now, if you sit there and safely say, give me the top 15 guys in the NBA, well, Boston has two of them. They have to have two elite guys that are workers. They appear to have high character on and off the court. They do the right things from a business standpoint. I mean, they have two. Anytime you can have two faces of a program and of the NBA, that is special. And I think they have two of them. Then you talk about the other guys that play great roles, great elite defenders. Peyton Pritchard, elite level guy at his position. Man, that's a special team that they put together, and I think they're the front runners, of course, to do it again. If they stay healthy, it's going to be hard to beat those guys because they click on all cylinders right now.
Coach Cuonzo Martin back at Missouri State. We're going to be watching the Bears falling as the season opens. Coach, it's always a pleasure talking to you, man. I appreciate your time and your knowledge of the game. It's always good.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate you having me. You make it a phenomenal day.
Thanks a lot. You too, Coach.